Hi, my name is Elaine Williams and I help people heal after trauma. I have coached hundreds of people about how to get over trauma, release the shame, and stop emotional eating, or really any self-sabotaging behavior that we're trying to change. I've been a speaker and a coach and an author since 2005. I've spoken at colleges all over the country, military bases, and done workshops too. So I just want to welcome you back. Thank you so much for all the responses from the first video. If you haven't gotten a chance to watch it, please go back and watch it. It's really cool. I share about my #1 secret, the secret shame that had the huge aha awakening and shift for me and for so many of my clients. And I just thank you so much for the comments. It's been really great to get all the feedback. So thanks. And welcome if you haven't seen me before. I do go more into my story in the first video, and but I wanted to talk today about more about you and what it would be possible for you if you were able to be free, to be done with the shame. You know, we all have some kind of traumatic thing we're carrying around, and some of us know about it and some of us don't, and it doesn't really matter, but what would it be like if you weren't doing your self-sabotaging thing? You know, if you weren't emotionally eating, would you be having the fit, healthy body that you've always wanted? Would you have more confidence to really take creative risks and go try that acting class you've always wanted, or go back to singing at open mics, or go audition, or go find the dream job or the dream partner? You know, what would you do? What would your life be like? Would you have more freedom and energy to go for the things you really want? Like your favorite, you know, job that you've always wanted to try for, or, you know, the trip you've been planning for 5 or 10 years. You know, what would it be like? You know, I love to think about what would that be like? I love to talk to people about the possibilities. And that's one reason I want to share my story of one of my clients, you know, Melanie. Like I talked before about resentment and the shame. So I had this client, Melanie, beautiful woman, very attractive, single mom, 3 gorgeous kids, super successful in her professional life, beautiful home, really just like feng shuied out, and just really, you know, on the outside it looked like everything was perfect and she just really had it going on, right? But on the inside she just felt really stuck. She would do this emotional eating pattern. Like she would pick a guy who maybe drank too much or ended up being a mooch, and she would start off the relationship strong, and then somehow she would just start stuffing her feelings and not speaking what she needed and what she wanted, and then she would be resentful, and then she was like, I'm with another guy who doesn't support me, who's not safe, and then she would eat and drink over it. Sound familiar? I think we've all been there, or a lot of us. And so it was sort of this cycle. And then even though she worked out and she was healthy, she would gain like 15 pounds even though she was working out. And then she would get more angry and more resentful with the weight. So it was like this vicious cycle. And then something would happen and they would blow up and they would break up, and then she would start the pattern all over again. You know, a lot of us have this, like every other area is good, but then there's this one area that's like, oh. So we started working together, and I swear, like after the first call, the latest boyfriend just got blasted out of her life. It was amazing. It happened so quick. And we started doing some anger release work. And at first she was like, I don't know. But then once she got into it and she really got the value of like getting the negative energy out of her body, it was so powerful. And she just loved it. And she could see the power of it and the release of it. And sure enough, we did a little more work and we traced some shame back to a traumatic event that had happened in her past. And we were able to we didn't have to stare at it. We just looked at it for a second, identified it, and did some work, and poof. And she was able to completely shift her patterns with men. So now she is loving her life. She has lost 15 pounds, and more importantly, she's kept it off, which I think for so many of us, we know how to lose the weight. It's keeping it off that's so hard, right? So she's 15 pounds lighter. She's dating 3 amazing guys. They all want more of her, and she's having so much fun because she's taking care of herself. She's keeping her center. She's doing some of the fun techniques I'm going to talk about in the next video, but she's getting her emotional needs met because she's not carrying around the trauma and the shame. And she's found her voice again. So that's just one example of how a little bit of work, a little bit of emotional release work can just be like, whoa! You know, I love sharing these stories. I just love watching my clients blossom. It's kind of like seeing somebody who's like all black and white, you know, and then all of a sudden they go into like high def. It's like so amazing to watch, and it's really powerful work, and it happens fast. So, you know, in the first video I talked about the secret shame, you know, that a lot of us have that we don't even know that we have. And in this video I just want to do another little teaching point of like, so we have the shame, and then the thing that keeps it in place are the three, I call them like the three things. It's anger, it's fear, and resentment. And resentment is really the thing that keeps everything stuck. You know, resentment means to revisit. It's like a re-loop. You know, have you ever had like just been obsessed about something, like a boss at work or something negative, and you just cannot stop thinking about it? It's like a loop in your head. So resentment, though, is like the number one offense. Like, it's sort of like drinking poison and expecting the person next to you to die. Like, it's so futile. And so that's one reason I love the anger release work, because it's kind of like it opens the floodgates to get out all the toxins, and it's just a great way to just help let things go. You know, and you know, you may be thinking at this point, okay, Elaine, you know, maybe this worked for you, or you know, maybe this worked for Melanie, but how could this work for me? Like, I've tried this stuff in the past, or you know, maybe this works. You know, you may be in a couple of different places, and I just want to say, I invite you to just keep watching and keep an open mind. You know, in yoga we call it a beginner's mind. You know, one of the biggest things our egos do is say, oh yeah, I already know all that. Oh yeah, I know that. And you know, and I still have that reflex too. It's a defense mechanism. And so I invite you to keep bringing yourself back and staying present, because you've made it this far. You know, you're way ahead of most people who've been watching this video. So I feel like you and I have met for a reason, and I don't take it lightly. And I really, really invite you to keep watching and really engage in some of the things I'm talking about, and just see if maybe this time it could be different for you. What if you fully surrendered? You know, the other programs that you did you really do all of the work? Did you give yourself 100%? You know, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I know, you know, many times I've done courses and I've kind of done them half-ass, you know, and so I just invite you to just keep being open, and I encourage you to keep, you know, trying to have that beginner's mind, because now who knows what is possible for you. You know, what would it be like if you lost your last 10 pounds because you weren't eating to stuff down your emotions? What would it be like if you had more confidence and you really felt like, you know what, I'm gonna take that creative risk. You know what, I am gonna go out with this person who keeps asking me out, but I've been scared. Or I am gonna go plan this trip even though I don't know how I'm gonna make it work. Like, what would it be like? You know, it's so exciting to think about the possibilities. So anyway, I feel like sometimes I ramble because I get so excited. But I love this work, and I know that it's made a difference. I know that when I had that aha moment about my shame, things clicked into place, and it started a huge, huge pivot in a more positive direction. And it wasn't like I was in the gutter before, but I had like a whack, you know, after years and years of sort of trudging. So I just so believe in this work, and I truly believe that my mission on this planet is to help talk about the tough topics to get rid of the shame so that we can find our self-love and our self-expression and our self-forgiveness. Because when we love ourselves, we have more to give to the world. And there's so many people who need our love. Oh my God. Anyway, I'm rambling again. Please forgive me. But, you know, I just invite you to come on this journey with me. And then, you know, there's one other thing I want to say. I am not like other teachers, you know. I'm a stand-up comedian. I am very emotional, but I'm also about like, let's get this shit done, you know? Like those people who just, you know, oh, we're gonna put everybody in pink light and we're just gonna, you know, I am not woo-woo like that. I mean, I'm not. I'm sorry. Because I feel like you have to excavate the dark stuff, because otherwise it's just like putting a big layer of whipped cream over a pile of shit. I'm sorry, but that's what it is. And you have to get the shit out. You do. And that's one reason I'm such a huge fan of the anger release and talking about the shame. You know, we don't have to stare at it, but we can talk about it. So anyway, stay tuned. My next video, I want to talk about how to replace it, right? So let's say, you know, we found your shame and we did some anger release work, or you broke a plate, or you went jogging, or you started doing push-ups, or, you know, you got physical in some way and you could feel some of this stuff coming out of you. Then you might be like, now what? You know, and you're right. There's always another thing to replace. When you have an old habit, it's really good to replace it with a new habit. You know, and sometimes when you're in this transformational thing, it's very uncomfortable. It can feel like a snail without a shell, or a snake without its skin, which I don't really like snakes, but, you know, just like, ooh. So in the next video, I talk about some of the fun new habits to do that can replace that old loop. Because you know how it is, like, we have these breakthroughs and then life happens and sometimes we go back. And so my commitment is that I give you enough tools that you don't ever have to go back. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for watching till the end. Please feel free to leave comments and engage. You can do it anonymously or you can do it as yourself. I really appreciate you staying to the end and watching. That says to me that you are committed and you want to make a difference and you're here to get something for yourself, and I applaud you for that. And I also just want you to think about, you know, what if you had a community of people? What if you had a support system to help you when you fell? When you're trying new habits and you went, you know, what would that be like? So I am starting a community on Facebook, so I'll keep you posted on that. So thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for the next video, and please leave some comments below, and thanks. Okay, take care.